Assalamu alaikum, ladies, and welcome to our podcast session today, the Balance and Thrive podcast. Good to have you here today. And just for those who are here new, welcome. If you've never joined one of these live sessions that we have fortnightly, all previous sessions that we've done are uploaded onto the YouTube channel, which is called Balance and Thrive podcast. So please subscribe and you'd be able to see all the previous ones bi'idhnillah ta'ala. So this is the title of our session today, the willpower secret. It's not what you think, because this is a big topic for women, trying to stay consistent, trying to have the motivation, the willpower to get up and do something with our health, right? So we want to understand what holds us back. Why is it, excuse me, alarm's gone. Why is it that we can't be that way? Okay. I'm Faria. I'm a health, wellness, and nutrition coach, and I specialize in circadian and energy health. I got into health because I was struggling with my own. So, this is just a short disclaimer. Everything that we are covering here today is for educational purposes only. If you have a serious medical issue, please reach out to a qualified practitioner. Now, I remember starting my own health journey, and just like many of you all, I struggled with being consistent. And that idea of change and getting a result, like, it really motivated me, right? I would see something online, I'd read a testimonial, and I'd think, yes, that's what I want for myself. And I would start full of fire and being really, really strict with myself because I just thought that's what you're supposed to do. But it would always fizzle out. Like, I couldn't sustain something for more than a week or two max. It was just too much. And when you've got kids that are young and you're homeschooling and you're doing other things as well, it's just, we always put our needs as a mother, as a woman, to the back burner because there's just too many other things going on that need our attention. So that's what would happen. And I believe that the women that were around me who seemed to have it all together, that maybe they were just born with some extra willpower, extra discipline that they had. Like, they stayed consistent. They didn't seem to be fighting themselves every day. I just thought maybe they had this special inner strength. Okay, because it was like their house was in order, their kids, their health, and even themselves. But here's what I wish somebody had made me understand. Willpower isn't a fixed personality trait. Some people don't have lots of it while others have none. That's not how it works. Willpower, it rises and falls throughout the day on a on a predictable biological rhythm. And once you understand that rhythm, many of your failures suddenly stop looking like failures. They start looking just like biology, right? Just like what your body's supposed to do. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because I genuinely believe one of the biggest lies that women have been told is that they need more discipline, is that they need to keep pushing harder. Most don't have this, right? Most just need more energy. That is the willpower secret. Now, let's start dealing with this myth that is out there, okay? This myth that disciplined people, they try harder. That's why they get where they want to be, right? And you hear that everywhere. Like, if you really wanted it, you'd do it. If you'd cared enough, you'd stay consistent. If you were serious, you'd stop making excuses. Like, we hear this all the time. But the human body doesn't work that way. Your brain runs on real energy, not motivational quotes or positive thinking or guilt or shaming yourself into do something. It runs on energy. And one of the most energy hungry parts of your entire brain is the prefrontal cortex. That's literally just behind your forehead, that area, because that area helps you make good decisions. It helps you resist temptation. That's the area that you need so that you can stay focused, you can control those impulses, you can follow through on what you say to yourself. In other words, that is the part that is what we understand as willpower. So what's the issue here then? Right? The brain, that part specifically just behind your forehead, is very expensive in terms of needs. Okay, it needs fuel, it needs oxygen, it needs glucose, it needs ATP, right? The energy currency that's produced inside your mitochondria. Okay, it needs all of these things. And when it has it, when it's plentiful, that area of the brain, it works beautifully. But if your energy levels start to drop, that is the first place to go offline. Okay. And those parts that are the survival parts, the comfort seeking parts, the parts that say to you, just have the biscuit with your tea. Just sit on the sofa today. Just have those 10 minutes of scrolling. It's okay. Do it tomorrow, right? That is what then comes online when your energy drops. This is why you can desperately want to change, but you still struggle to follow through, right? It has nothing to do with like your desire and the fact that you want this goal, right? It's mainly because your energy is weak. And that's a very different problem. Now think about it. If your phone was on a 3% battery, right? You're not going to expect it to perform the same as when your phone is at 100%. If that was our phone, we'd probably just leave it alone, right? Just so we can make it last longer. We're out. We'd better not use it too much because, we need to make an emergency call or something like that. Yet every single day, we expect exhausted women to function like superheroes, right? We're expected to raise the kids, manage the home, work even, look after parents, look after aging relatives. Remember that PE is on Tuesday, cook meals, answer messages, handle the emotional stress of the entire household, sleep terribly, and somehow still have enough mental energy left to resist cravings at 8 p.m. It's no wonder some women feel like they're just failing, right? But the thing that's really fascinating, ladies, right, is this is the thing I want you to understand. Scientists studying self-control, they notice something important about willpower. Okay? Willpower behaves like a resource. That means it can increase, it can decrease. It follows a certain pattern. It's not random. In 2024, psychologist Roy Baumeister and his colleagues, they ran a now famous line of research suggesting that self-control behaves like a depletable resource. And they call this ego depletion. What their studies found is that after you have exerted self-control in one task, when you had to exercise self-control in a second task, you performed worse. Okay? So what is it saying? It's saying that willpower isn't totally about determination. It is deeply connected to energy availability. If you manage to stay strong doing one thing, you tend to struggle with something else. But why? Because it's connected to energy availability. Now, this energy availability follows a rhythm, a circadian rhythm. And yes, Even your willpower has a clock. This might be one of the most important things that you can remember from this session, inshallah. Because when you understand this, you know then that self willpower isn't something that some people have and some people don't. Okay? Your body knows that your ability to focus and to make decisions and to resist temptation, it changes throughout the day. Those changes, they're not random. They're programmed by your circadian rhythm. That's the clock in your body that tells your body when to wake, when to sleep, when to digest food, when to release hormones, when to produce energy, and when your brain is most capable of making good decisions. Now let's just walk through a typical day and try and understand then how can we better ourselves at this. Now, you wake up, and if your eyes receive the signal that they need, natural light, it's going to travel deep into your brain. Okay? That signal is going to reach your master clock, the SCN. It's going to tell your body that a new day started. Okay? When that signal arrives, a whole chain reaction begins, impacting hormones, impacting alertness, energy production. Your brain starts to wake up properly. And this is the thing that a lot of people miss when it comes to this, right? Because this light isn't just waking you up, it's also programming the systems that influence motivation itself. Now, one of the big things connected to motivation is dopamine. Okay? Dopamine is often called the motivation chemical, right? It helps to create drive, initiative. It's that feeling that makes you want to move towards your goal. And light plays a huge role in setting dopamine, which means something incredibly important. If motivation runs on dopamine and dopamine is influenced by light, then getting your light right isn't just a nice little habit. It's an upstream of motivation itself. If you understand this, you'll realize that you don't need to force yourself to be motivated. You just need to program your body correctly. That's why you might notice there's some mornings when you feel clear-headed, you feel like, yeah, you know what, I could actually do a lot today. Or, you know, I actually feel like doing that workout. I actually feel like making myself something healthy this morning. There's other mornings where you don't feel like that. You feel foggy, you feel flat. It's nothing, it's not always, okay? Let's just say that. It's not always to do with mindset. Oftentimes it's biology. Now, here's something that might also just blow your mind. Because sunlight, it doesn't just influence motivation, it also impacts your appetite, right? Have you noticed how you are feeling with a lot more sunlight in the heat wave? This is one of the discoveries that completely changed how I think about cravings. Now, when UV light reaches your skin and eyes, it activates a signaling pathway that communicates with the brain. One of these systems is called POMC, right? It doesn't matter if you don't remember the name. Just remember what it does. It helps to regulate hunger, metabolism, energy balance, and appetite signals. In simple terms, your body ancestrally has always expected sunlight to be part of the conversation. But if you think about it, for most of human history, people spent huge amounts of time outside. Their brain, their skin, their hormones, they were constantly getting information from light. Nowadays, it's about 95%, I think even more than that, maybe 98% of our time is spent indoors. And not just indoors, but we're under artificial light, ladies. We're on screens. And we are then missing one of the biggest regulatory signals that the human body needs. Then you wonder why it's so hard to have willpower. You wonder why your cravings are so impossible to control. So the key thing to remember here is that willpower behaves like a resource. Okay. And that resource, it doesn't drain randomly. It will be influenced by the rhythm set by your body clock. If you have a strong morning, it often leads to stronger self-control later. A poor morning often makes the entire day harder. And I don't know of any diet advice that pays attention to this. Now, a really interesting study, it was the Guardian talks about it, but it actually does go back to an actual study. And it was looking at judges and how they make their decisions. And researchers, they noticed something fascinating. They saw that favorable decisions were highest after breaks and meals. Basically means that the judges were a bit more lenient after they had a break, after they had some lunch. And that would gradually decline as the session continued. And then if they had another break, they would find again, oh, look, the judges are a little bit more lenient again. These are highly trained professionals. What's going on? It just showed that even their decision-making patterns were followed by their energy availability. So if judges get to be impacted by how much energy they have, why are we so shocked when ordinary people are struggling? So this is a really clear example for you ladies to not just see yourself, oh, you know what, I'm a lazy person, right? This is a biological impact. And because it's biological, it can be worked with, it can be fixed, right? So you can stop asking yourself, how do I stop being lazy? How do I stop these cravings? And just start saying, how do I support the systems that make self-control easier, that make willpower effortless? Now, as for us as Muslims, discipline, willpower, it's not something strange to us. It's actually ingrained into us. Because our deen, it teaches us everything, alhamdulillah. It teaches us how to live, how to eat, how to rest, how to work, how to recover, how to structure our entire day. And like compare that with the guidance in what is coming out now from science, from circadian science. They're all just discovering it now. But subhanallah, our creator, he knows. He knows what he created and he knows how it's designed to work the best. Look at all the times of the salah at the different times of the day when the sun is in different positions, each being hugely beneficial, right? And even from the deen, we've been encouraged to maximize our mornings. And it's only now that science are showing things like mornings are the times when your brain is more naturally alert. We knew this in the deen. Right? As Muslims, we know that there are blessings for us in the early hours. For generations, scholars have been encouraging us to make the most of our mornings. Right? At this time of day, cortisol's rising, your body temperature is increasing, your thinking becomes clear, your focus improves, motivation is naturally higher at this time. Now, this strength of purpose and resilience and showing up for you, it works on a system, okay? Because you don't suddenly wake up more disciplined one morning, right? It's not just going to be like, okay, yes, here we go, the morning started, right? You've got to build it too. You've got to work to it. But it can be one light exposure. It can be one bedtime that is on time, right? One dua, one meal that is good, one walk outside. It's just one small choice repeated over and over again. And yet, it sounds boring and it sounds unimpressive, but this is what any successful person in any arena of life, wealth, health, dunya, deen, that's all it is. A routine practiced over and over again until eventually just becomes who you are. And perhaps that's something that we've forgotten, you know, because we think we have to wait till we feel like doing something before we do it, right? We want to wait for that motivation to arrive and then take the step. We say things like, oh, I'll do it on Monday, right? Or let's start in January, right? Some people have that. Or after Eid, the Eid is coming, who wants to do anything now? Well, look, the kids, too much work. Let's just wait until they're a bit older. Let's wait for life to become less busy. But life never really becomes less busy. The people who stay consistent rarely feel motivated every day. That's the thing you have to realize. Okay, so when you see a person like that, they don't have motivation every day. All they have done is they've created a system in their life, a rhythm, a routine that carries them on the days when motivation disappears. That's the secret. Because when you have a system like that, it removes decision fatigue. And that's the same thing that happens with healthy eating, right? If in every meal you're having this huge debate in your head, you're going to become mentally exhausted. But if you just think, okay, for breakfast, I have to just work around protein, whatever it is, khalas. Lunchtime, I'm going to have protein and a vegetable, whatever it is. And you say like, okay, in the evenings, this is what I do. It's going to be calm. What you've done by having a system like that is that you remove hundreds of decisions. You don't have to rely on your willpower. You're relying on a system that you've created in your life. And that system, that rhythm is always going to be motivation. Look, for us as women, right? This is why some of us, we tend to feel tired before the day has even begun, because we spend so long in decision fatigue. And I know this so well. This is me. Every hour contains a decision that I have to make. Should I exercise? Should I eat this? Should I scroll? Should I sit down and do some work? Should I plan this lesson instead today? Should I pray now? Should I rest? And all of these decisions, they cost energy. Every choice is asking something of your brain, and eventually that brain just gets tired. The beautiful thing about creating a system and a rhythm in your life is that the more you build them, the fewer decisions you have to make. And the fewer decisions you have to make, the more energy your brain has for the decisions that really matter. That's exactly why the most disciplined people, they look calm, because they're not constantly negotiating with themselves. They already have a plan, and that plan has decided what they're going to do. Even modern athletes, they understand this. Okay, people who are training for the Olympics, they don't wake up every morning asking themselves, should I train today? They have a schedule that already answers that question. These elite performers, and this is for, you women out there who really want to take your lives to another level, right? Who really want to do well by Allah's permission in any arena, because you can talk about business here, you can talk about the deen, you can talk about your health. It all is relevant to that. These elite trainers and elite performers, they don't depend on motivation because they know it's going to be up or down. They depend on a system, a structure, right? Our deen, it teaches us a structure, a system, a rhythm, right? Elite performers have that. Science even mentions something related to rhythm. And they all point towards the same truth. Your future health, your future wealth, your future in terms of the deen, right, is not going to be built by one heroic moment. It's going to be built by those ordinary days, repeated consistently, day after day, week after week. And we know this already, ladies. It's in our deen. Allah loves those actions that are small but repeated over and over. Small being the key thing here. And that brings us to the next question, right? You've heard all this stuff, right? And you're probably thinking as a listener today, okay, wonderful. Where do I start? Where do I actually begin? Now, the good news is, right, you don't need 20 new habits, right? You don't need something complicated. You don't need to even overhaul your whole life. You can just start with 3 simple steps. And these habits will help your body to create more energy. So your brain, it has more willpower available without constantly fighting itself. Okay? So the first step, win the first hour of your day. Okay? So important. Get outside in the mornings. Even if it's raining, cloudy, cold, beaten down with the sun. Because this is about giving your brain the information it's been waiting for. It needs to know that morning has arrived. Okay, that moment, that natural light is going to be reaching your eyes. Your brain is going to start organizing the rest of your day. It will understand where cortisol needs to go, when melatonin needs to be switched on. It will understand how to use dopamine. And your brain will become prepared to make good decisions for the next several hours. This routine is about pressing the start button on your body's operating system. If you skip it, your system's still going to work, but just not as well. The second shift is stop starving your brain. Because your brain cannot make good decisions without energy. It needs some fuel. Think about what happens to a toddler who hasn't eaten, right? They start to become emotional, they're frustrated, they're irritable. Adults aren't that different. We're just better at hiding it, right? One of the biggest mistakes that I see from women is that they eat almost nothing in the mornings. And then they expect themselves to have perfect self-control all afternoon. Your brain doesn't care about your intentions. It responds to what you are fueling it with. So, make it worthwhile. Prioritize protein, eggs, fish, chicken, leftovers, Greek yogurt. It doesn't matter. The goal isn't eating less. The goal is to create steadier energy, because steadier energy means a steadier brain. A steadier brain makes better decisions. Okay, and shift 3, sorry, ignore the picture. And here's this part of the puzzle that most people are forgetting about, okay? Because tomorrow's willpower, it starts tonight. The way that you spend your final hour before bed, that quietly programs tomorrow morning. So keep it calm, keep it gentle. Do away with the artificial blue lights. Put your phone away earlier. Make wudu, read some Quran, stretch, write things down, read, talk with your spouse. Just silence. You want it to be calm. Give your brain the permission to slow down, right? Not perfection needed here. You could even just start with 5 minutes before bed if need be. Because that's all the body's waiting for. Just that signal that day is ending. It's safe for you to rest now. This evening routine that you set up for yourself, it becomes the mindset that you hold tomorrow morning. So protect your evening if you want a better morning. Now, what if life for you right now is hectic? Okay, because some of us, it's like that right now. It's not simple, right? Maybe you've got a newborn. If that's the case, forget perfection. Do what you can. Step outside when you can. Have some change in the way that you're feeding in the evenings, even. Keep it calm, keep the lights dim. Don't judge yourself. This is just the season that you're in. Okay, right now, your body deserves compassion. Now, you might be someone who's working shifts, right? Night shifts. The principles still apply. You can still create consistency. You can still have your sleep routine in place, your light routine in place. And maybe right now you have children who wake you up through the night. Again, don't chase perfection. Doesn't help any of us. Chase the direction that you are going in. Small improvements still count. Okay, the body, it responds to repeated signals, not perfect ones. And this is important because many of us, like, we think if we're not doing it perfectly, there's no point doing it. Right? It's a all or nothing mentality. But that just makes us give up after one difficult day. And you just think, well, I've ruined it. What's the point now? Might as well just go have that cake. But you haven't ruined it. Like, one late night isn't going to mess up your rhythm. One takeaway is not going to mess up your metabolism. One day you didn't walk. Okay, it's not going to ruin your health. Just like one healthy meal doesn't transform your health overnight. Same things apply. One difficult day doesn't destroy either. Your body's always looking for the average, not one single day. So if yesterday wasn't great, khalas, move forward. No one's perfect. Today is going to be another opportunity to send your body better signals. That's all healing is. Just sending better signals more often. And I think that that's what this system, the circadian system, is really, really beneficial for, because it replaces that shame with understanding. And shame never heals anyone. Understanding does. So before we finish, don't try to become a whole new different person. Don't chase motivation. Don't wait until Monday. Just choose one thing, the easiest thing, just one of them. Just do it every day. See how your life transforms. Let your rhythm begin to carry you, because one day, after you've been doing that, you'll wake up and you'll realize the things that once felt impossible for you now feel normal. Alhamdulillah, what a feeling that is. So if today's session helped you to see yourself differently, then I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message. Let me know which one you're going to start with this week. I genuinely read every message and I appreciate your feedback. If you know another woman who's been blaming herself and she's been struggling to understand this, share this episode with her. Barakallah feekun, ladies, for being here this week. And inshallah, we will touch base again in a couple of weeks' time. Take care of yourself. Take care of your energy. And your energy will take care of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.